Hey, what's up guys, it's Uchiha here, back with another part of What If Naruto Was Banished and Married an Empress. And as you guys know, I wrote down a poll and you guys suggested that I upload this part today, so here it is. And if you haven't, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel if you like the content of this channel. And without further ado, let's continue our story. Naruto was lying in bed, a woman on each of his side, the sheets downright soaked with sweat. For the life of him, he could not logically explain how a simple breakfast had degenerated into a scene worthy of the most hardcore book Jiraiya could ever dream of writing. He could feel Hinata's head above his heart with a smile on her face. Fu was busy burying her head in his neck, and hell, even now he could feel his manhood hardening from the still, formed but yet pleasurable feeling of two pairs of breasts being pressed against him. And to his embarrassment, Hinata seemed to notice it as well. Narukun, again. God, you're so insatiable. It's not my fault. I have two naked goddesses pressing themselves against me. Flattering won't get you any further. Hinata giggled before laying her head back on his heart. I'm too tired to take care of you right now. I think I'll take a little nap. Yeah. Yawn. Sorry, I cannot yawn in as a gesture, so I apologize for that. Now, onto the story. Same here. And you, Fu-chan? Turning to the mint-haired beauty, he found her fast asleep, nuzzled against him. With a smile, Naruto laid his head on the pillow, closing his eyes and slipping into peaceful slumber. And right then, the door slid open, slamming against the wall as a breathless and triumphant Toad Sage entered the room. I found her! This immediately brought the three people in the bed back to consciousness, and Jiraiya near his death. In the instant, it took him to scream in pride. Hinata had gathered nature chakra, fashioned it into ethereal-looking throwing knives, and was ready to throw them. Fu had unsealed her bow from God knows where, and Naruto had taken the kunai hidden under his pillow. Even though the three of them were still in bed, and the two women had a hand paralyzed to cover their chest with the sheets, Jiraiya was still on death's doorstep, and he would soon shake hands with the Grim Reaper if he didn't find a good excuse. But then again, he was Jiraiya the super pervert, and even faced with a certain death, would he perv? So, with a lecherous grin, he took out his notepad. This did not sit well with Hinata. With a flick of her wrist, the notepad was nailed to the wall, causing Jiraiya to look more carefully at her. Then he began to sweat. Hinata was calling, her eyes colored with red as dark red markings had appeared around her eyes, giving a feral touch to her delicate beauty. From her hair, two red, ghostly antlers rose, akin to those of a dragon, and even though the knives in her hand seemed immaterial, they had just demonstrated their harming power. Jiraiya of the Sun. If you give any importance to these things between your legs, you will stay silent on my identity and will refrain from putting any of this in one of your books. Am I clear? Crystal, I'll wait for you in the living room. That is if I can come back later if you prefer. No, go in the living room. You ruined our mood and nap, so might as well see what you have to say, grumbled Naruto. Clearly disappointed with the interruption, Hinata looked unenthusiastically at Jiraiya before turning to Naruto. While you talk to the perv, I'm going to take a shower. Fu-chan, you join me. Yeah, who knows? If you're fast enough, you might join us too, Naruto. With a wink and a giggle, Fu grabbed her yukata before looking towards the door where Jiraiya was looking at. Then, a bit of drool coming out of his grinning mouth, a vein popped on Fu's forehead. You better be in the living room before I get up, or Hime-chan's threat will look like a walk in the park compared to what I'll do to you. As soon as she had closed her mouth, Jiraiya had disappeared from the doorway. With a satisfied smile, Fu got off the bed and put her clothes loosely on her, as did Hinata. And they walked to the bathroom. Naruto, with yet another sigh, got up, dressed quickly, and went to the living room, sitting in front of his perverted godfather. Okay, what's exciting news do you have for me? Well, now it's a bit late, but I was here to tell you I had found your little Hyuga, but it looks like she found you too. Yeah, anything else? Well, I thought you want to know, and I really didn't expect her to there. Just so you know, I saw the Yuga on the way, and Hiyashi getting restless. Your little girlfriend would do well to talk to him or there's bound to be trouble. She'll deal with him when she's choose to and the way she wants to. I'll try to advise her, but the choice still belongs to her. Jiraiya nodded, his gaze then fell on the some disregarded pastries. You have planned for later? I didn't have breakfast. Help yourself. I'm going to have my shower. Stop that line of thoughts right there. Without another word, Naruto disappeared in his room, leaving a pouting Jiraiya. Link break. After throwing the perverted sage out of the house, the three realized they had spent the whole morning having fun together and so decided to have lunch. Hinata insisted on cooking and Fu praises helping her to cook. Naruto accepted to taste her cooking for himself. To say Naruto loved her cooking would be their understatement of the millennium. After lunch, Hinata finally accepted to see the Yuga representative, but under her own terms, meaning with her face veiled and her two lovers nearby to help restrain her if needed be. Once the room was prepared, ready once they got rid of the scent, Naruto went to find the three Yugas, leaving Hinata and Fu to talk. So Hime, what do you plan on telling them? I don't know. They are my family, but their rules have hurt me. I really don't know what to do. Honestly, I hope I could avoid this meeting. Yeah, but think of your sister. Don't you think she'd like to know how you're doing? I don't know. We never talked much. I'm not sure. Even sure she has the same idea of family I have. They always were so cold. They have been for years. What could have changed in barely 6 years? A lot can change. Just look for yourself. Do you really think you would have done 6 years ago what we did this morning? Joked the mint-haired woman. Hinata looked disapprovingly at Fu. We were 13. You know what I mean. If you were introduced to your 13-year-old self, she would probably try to hide behind something. Is it so difficult to imagine that maybe they care? Remember what Naruto said. He told us Hiyashi had followed every lead he could find. Even got his leg crushed while looking for you. And he crushed any hope of happiness I had in my childhood. That man has to answer for 8 years worth of hell. Fu, you should know by now. Forgiveness is not something I grant easily, especially not to those who hurt me. Besides, I don't think you have any advice to give me on this issue. Or must I remind you the way you told your father to fuck off this morning? It's not exactly the same. How so? He screwed up your childhood. Well, my father did the same. He's lucky I even let him talk. My father threw me out when I was 4. I doubt Hiyashi did the same. And well, while it's true, he regularly beat you up, you never left this training on the verge of death. Am I wrong? Fu, I made up my mind. They should have cared when I was still in Konoha. And Naruto, he cared. He fought for me in Chunin exams. Are you sure it wasn't his sense of justice? Are you sure he wouldn't have done that for anyone? Hinata tried to answer, but no retort came to her lips. Anger began to boil in her as she shot a glare to her wife, but it receded as soon as it came, and Hinata gazed lower. So, you think he pretends to love me? It would all be a lie to avoid hurting me? Whispered the former Hyuga, who began to panic slightly, rushing in comfort the depressed empress. No, of course not. You know he loves you. I'm sorry, I didn't use the right words. What I mean is, you don't know how important something really is until you lose it. It's the same with people. What I'm trying to say is, everyone you knew had a shock when you were banished, including your clan. So they probably miss you. At least give them a chance. Pooh, I understand, but if I must give them another chance, then why didn't you give one to your father too? Because he didn't give a damn. I had some time to gather some information, and Taki didn't even lift a finger after I left. They didn't care about where I was until Eva threatened them on a border issue. They want my power, not me. But your father doesn't want to force you back to Konoha. He just wants to make your life better. How? He thinks you still have the seal and he wants to take them off. Hinata took a deep breath to calm herself. Alright, I'll try to stay calm. At this moment, someone knocked on the door. As the door slid open, Naruto had popped in. They're here. Taking one more calming breath, Hinata put her veil on. Send them in. Hinata nodded and stepped completely inside, opening fully the door from the three yugas. Now that she had time to carefully look at them, she noticed several things. First were her father's limp and the cane he used, along with the fact that Hanabi was helping him walk. Then the change in her father's hair color. In itself, it was surprising. Normally, a Yuga hair grayed only around 65 to 70, yet her father, who was only in his mid 50s, looked as old as her grandfather last time she saw him. It really shocked her to see just how defeated and tired Hiyashi looked. Then she noticed how much Hanabi had grown. She had left a 9-year-old girl and her hair was a 15-year-old chonin. Her brown hair was still long, falling to the small of her back. She was wearing a cream kimono top with a dark blue sash to keep it closed. Her headband tied around her neck, her fishnet shirt visible near her throat. Dark blue pants and black sandals completed the outfit. Neji still had his hair long with his handband on his forehead, but now wore cream kimono top and pants along with a black men's skirt or apron. Seeing this, Hinata had to stifle a giggle. Yuga Neji, I had been told for your skills, but not for your choice of dress. In a clan so strict and traditional, cross-dressing must be frowned upon. Your life must be really hard. Teased the veiled empress in a mocking, compassionate voice, causing the Jonin to blush furiously, sputtering denials while Hanabi snickered not so discreetly. This caught Hinata's attention. Since when is Hanabi acting this way? She thought. However, Hiyashi had something else on his mind, and not paying attention to his daughter teasing his nephew, he began to kneel, suppressing a grunt for pain with difficulty. But it was enough for his daughters to take a note and for Hanabi to rush to his side. Father, you shouldn't exert your knee like that, Hanabi. I'll do anything necessary to ensure Hinata's well-being. If it means I have to suffer for a bit, then so be it. Hanabi, seeing her father was being stubborn, sighed and helped him to kneel. Yashi was quickly joined by his daughter and nephew, and as one they bowed to the ground. Then, his head still on the ground, the aged clan head spoke to the empress before him. Lady Empress, I am grateful that you hear us out, for I do not deserve such honor. I have no doubt Hinata told you of my failure as a father. It is my mistake I wish to correct as much as possible. 2 seals were placed on Hinata, one preventing her from bearing a child under the penalty of death, the other allowing any members of our clan main branch to execute her. I wish to remove these seals. I am not asking for her to return to clan. I'm just asking you to please tell her we have a way to remove them. Lord Jiraiya of the Sanin studied these seals and found ways to remove them. I beg you to let her know of it. Naruto-san can guarantee our good intentions. I know she probably doesn't want to see me again, but please let her know that her sister and cousin misses her dearly, and that I do too. Yashi had spoken in a subdued but controlled voice until the end, when his voice cracked and sorrow tainted his words. Hinata was at loss of words, not knowing what to do until one thing came back to her mind. You said you have a way to remove the cage bird seals. What about the branched family? This time, her answer came from Neji, the Jonin, untying his headband, revealing a forehead devoid of any seal. There is no longer any branch of your highness, only the Hyuga. The elders' treachery thought it brought us great pain, also gave us an opportunity to make things right. A bitter smile came to the man's face. In the end, Hinata did free us of our chains, but the price she had to pay was too high. Please allow us to alleviate her pain like she did ours. By now, Hinata had actually struggled to keep herself in line, but she regained her own feelings and turned her gaze to her sister. And you, Yuga Hanabi, what are your reasons? She's my sister, and she is in pain. I don't need any other reason, but if you really want to know, I wasn't the best sister possible to Hinata. I want to make it up to her. I just want my sister to be happy. Please let us help her. Hinata tried to remain calm, but tears were threatening to flow out of her eyes. Fu and Hinata had told her her family missed her, but she refused to believe them. Her pain and anger were preventing her from doing so. But seeing them like that, she couldn't deny it anymore. Taking her veil off, she stood up, making her way to the family on shaking legs. The three Hyugas, their heads still bowed, did not see her face. It was only when they heard her voice and they looked up. You changed. You all have changed so much. Hearing the emotion and familiarity in the Emperor's voice, they looked up, hesitantly gasping when they saw the uncovered face of one Hyuga Hinata. Dashi had troubles believing it, so he activated his Byakugan, intent on confirming what he saw, and it was indeed his estranged daughter standing before him. Tears began to pour as relief washed over him. His daughter was safe. Hinata kneeled in front of him before embracing him. Yashi began to hug her back, cuddling his long-lost child and rocking softly. Hinata, you're safe. Thanks the gods. I am so sorry, my daughter. Please forgive this old fool for his sins. Yes, I forgive you, father. I forgive you. Hanabi, kneeling near them, was quickly integrated into the hug. Crying just as much as her father and sister, Naji looked on, waiting patiently for his turn to hug his cousin. He wanted to hug her immediately, but he knew he should let Yashi and Hanabi enjoy their familial moment. On the side, Naruto and Fu looked at the reunion with a smile on their faces. Well, that went even better than what I have hoped for. Well, that went even better than what I have hoped for, said Fu. Yeah, at least now they are at peace, said Naruto. The mint-haired woman hummed in agreement. Suddenly, a soft knock on the door was heard. Link break. Man, this is really awkward. What the hell am I going to tell? I'm pretty sure he's gonna forgive me, but still, I can't help but fear he'll be too pissed at me. Shit. Well, too late to go back. The door slid open and Kiba Inuzuka hesitantly looked at Naruto. Hey Naruto, could we talk a bit, please? The blonde looked behind him, softly sobbing sounds coming from inside, before turning back to him. I'm afraid my house isn't really available, but I guess we can talk and walk for a bit. While Naruto was stepping outside of the house, a hand appeared on his shoulder and Fu appeared, frowning. Naruto, I don't think it's a good idea. This guy visibly has a thing of hurting you. The blonde answered with a gigantic smile, not unlike those he often gave back at the academy. Hey, don't worry, he didn't hit me this time. He just wanted to talk. Kiba winced slightly. I really been an ass on this one. Damn, the Jinchuriki of the Shichibi released Naruto's shoulder but didn't seem any more reassured. Sending a glare at Kiba before retreating inside the house, Naruto began to walk and Kiba fell in stride, not really sure of how to begin their conversation. The Inuzuka was grateful that Naruto didn't press him, but he really had no idea of where to begin. Oh, screw that. Might as well face it head on. I'm sorry. Naruto in surprise stopped. Beg your pardon? I said I'm sorry. My behavior for all these years. It was unjustified. I've been a completely asshole. I was blaming you for something that wasn't your fault. I'm sorry. I know I've probably gone too far to be forgiven, but at least I should give you my apologies. Kiba lowered his gaze to the ground, expecting a refusal when he felt Naruto's hand on his shoulders. He looked up, and to his surprise, Naruto was smiling kindly at him. It doesn't matter. To tell you the truth, I was blaming myself equally. I had to have my butt almost knocked to let go of the grief. Oh, and also learned just what happened to Hinata-chan. The happy smile that overcame his face showed Kiba that he had been wrong for all these years. She's fine? Yup. Do you know where she is? Can you get me a pass to Empress? Please, I gotta see her. She's like a sis. Hey, calm down. Let's go back. We'll see you there. You okay with that? Kiba nodded and followed Naruto back to his house. Heck, that went well. Much better than I thought. This guy really is too forgiving for his own too good. When they finally reached the house, Kiba had the surprise of his life. Dressed as the Empress, a woman he could guess was Hinata was tapping her foot on the ground in an annoyed manner. Naruto, may I know why you left with Kiba? I expect a convincing answer. Well, he said he wanted to talk and what? He already hit you several times. He could have done so again. You do realize that it's kind of part of my job to listen to everyone. Is that a reason to take inconsiderate risks? Hinata-chan, please. Kiba may have hit me, but He never tried to kill me. I'm safe, I tell you. Hinata's face turned worried. Naruto. I've been his teammate long enough to know what he's capable of. Kiba sighed heavily, finally drawing Hinata's attention to him. I really fucked up big time, huh? Yes, Kiba, you have. And while Naruto is an all-forgiving idiot, hey, I'm not. Give me one reason not to obliterate you. Kiba stayed silent, thinking of his reply. Then with a sigh he prepared to face judgment. I don't have any. You have every right to be pissed at me or to hate me if it was only me. I'll let you kill me, but as things are, I'm engaged, so I can't really let you do that. I know you'll probably never forgive me and I deserve it. I'm just sorry. Kiba kept his gaze on the ground, not daring to meet her eyes. Hinata, on her part, was still affected by the reconciliation with her family, and so she decided not to be hasty and think about it carefully before coming to a decision. I'll think about it. Now, Naruto-kun, I think you should come inside. Father still had trouble believing our future material martial situation. Naruto grinned amusedly and entered the house after his soon-to-be wife as an afterthought. Nata poked her head through the door and looked at Kiba. You can tell the others who I am. There are no more reasons to hide that anymore. Then she disappeared back into the house. Kiba stood there for a few moments, sighed, and began walking back towards the hotel the Konoha delegation was staying at. Then something occurred to him. What does she mean by future marital situation? She's married to Fu. Wait, she said our. You mean? Kiba stopped in shock, then he shrugged and called it karmic reward. On his way back, he passed the bridge and saw a fast-moving speck running towards him. Squinting his eyes, he saw a silver hair and a Konoha headband. As Kakashi neared, he suddenly let out a mighty roar. My porn sense is tingling! The grey-haired Jonin sped past a wide-eyed Kiba at such speed that the Inuzuka nearly lost his footing. Looking past his shoulder at the disappearing form of Kakashi, Kiba wondered once again just why all the experiences Jonin he knew had to be so unique. Shaking his head, he resumed his walk after what he had heard and seen. He didn't really pay attention when a green blur crossed the bridge at high speed, blowing something about a youth sense tingling. Link break. What? That was Sakura. Kiba looked at the assembled Konoha delegation, and more precisely at his friends, even if they had drifted away due to his treatment of Naruto. You heard me. Hinata is the empress, and she plans to marry Naruto, and probably share him with Fu-sama. Sakura and Ino had their jaws on the floor. Tenten eyes were the size of plates. Choji's bag of chips had fallen. Shino simply stood there as unreadable as always. Lee was in tears, spouting nonsense about the flames of youth. Shikamaru didn't appear surprised at all, and Sasuke, the Uchiha, was desperately trying to hide in the closet and failing miserably. Yo, Sasuke, what you doing? Hiding. If she finds me, she'll skin me alive. She bound to be pissed at me. And don't call me that. Kiba chuckled at the duck-haired man. He was amusing sometimes, acting stupid like that. It was a bit like having good old Naruto around once for a change, but not as fun as him. As if reading his mind, Sakura landed a glare on him. Wait a minute, how did you know that? Deciding that beating around the bush wouldn't be beyond stupid, Kiba answered honestly. I went to talk to him. An encounter earlier in the week opened my eyes, so I kinda went to apologize. A huge silence settled over the assembly. Kiba Nizuka wasn't really the type to publicly admit his apologies. For him to admit this before them, he must really feel guilt. It was so shocking that Sasuke stopped trying to hide. Kiba was beginning to feel very uneasy, so he mentally blessed profusely the bird that was coming closer, while wondering why it sounded almost like screaming Ma. A grey and green blur smashed through the window and into the wall, leaving a dent before the wide-eyed crowd could take a closer look. A complete green blur did the same through the other window of the room and met the same wall. It all happened in less than 2 seconds. Now that both blurs were somewhat static, they could see it was Hatake Kakashi and Maito Guy. And less than a second after they arrived, two furious voices filled with feminine righteousness bellowed in rage. And don't you two freaks dare come near our man again! The Leaf Assembly looked at the two teachers in silence as they got up groaning. Damn, and they call it the gentle fist. There's nothing gentle about it. This youthful mint flower truly packs a punch. Snade, still shocked to learn that Hinata was alive, addressed them in a pisteful voice. All right, why the hell are you two here? My pawn sense was tingling. My youth sense was tingling. My troublesome sense is tingling. Mindokse, sighed Shikamaru. What the hell? Interrupted Kiba. Am I the one and only guy not having the tingling sixth sense? After a few moments of silence, Choji slowly raised his hand. My tummy sense is tingling. As this is where I'm going to be leaving this part of, guys. I know it's quite a short one, and I didn't plan on making any video today, but I wrote down the poll and thought, why not? I am posting consistently, and why should I break my streak? So I decided to upload a video today, and yeah, that is why I'm leaving this part off here, guys. If you enjoyed this, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't. And this is Apollo Uchiha, and I'm signing out. Peace.